Hello, 152 students. So this week we're going to be looking at kind of a review of the things that are due in the next couple of weeks. We're going to be talking about here when your final is going to be. And then I also wanted to make sure that everyone understood that this week and next week are the last weeks for you to turn in anything that you haven't turned in. So the quiz, unfortunately, we can't turn in because I gave you the answers to that. But if you have other things that you haven't turned in, like the slides or something else, please turn those in and then let me know, write me an email and let me know that you have turned those in. So we have this week and then next week and then our finals. Now for our finals are going to be on Thursday, May 11th. And because we're the morning class, we're slated to meet at 6:30 a.m. and we will meet via Zoom. So what I will do is I will post next week the link for Zoom that you will log in and we will be on there at 6:30. Now, I know it's early, 6:30 a.m. I know it's a very early time slot, but that is just what the college allocates for this class. So it kind of is what it is. It wasn't something that I created or identified. So the college has identified that that's when we're going to meet. So Thursday, May 11th at 6:30 a.m. The way that the final class will go is that you will present your project two. So I will ask you to share your screen and then you will present your project two. You will have just about 3 minutes or so to present. So we don't want you to prepare anything that's going to take a long period of time to present. You don't really need to prepare anything. You're just going to go through the work that you created from that project two. So we've got that project two that's due. You did your slides. I want to show a couple of examples of slides for research that students had turned in that I thought were really interesting to take note of. And then I want to kind of review the different topics that need to be within your project two. So first of all, let's go into reviewing what needs to be within your project two. So if you're not familiar with this URL, make sure that you get to this URL here at the top. This is where all of the different project rubrics from your instructor are laid out. So remember that this is a PSA, right? A public service announcement. And this needs to be a long scrolling page. So it needs to be something that's a long scrolling page. Now, the rubric items that I will be going through when I'm grading your projects are here. You need to have an index.html for that area. You need to have an about page that has your concept statement and then an explanation as to why you chose those design choices, whatever design choices you chose. You need to have between 3 to 5 screen views. So remember we talked last time about a screen view being exactly what you see here. This is what we call a screen view. As I scroll down to show new content, this is a second screen view. So that's what we're talking about with screen views. So 3 to 5 of them. You also need to have 3 to 5 content pieces per page. So your screen should have, each time that we see a page without having to scroll down, it should have approximately 3 to 5 content pieces. So different paragraphs of text, different columns of information, different images kind of laid out. And those are the types of things that we're going to be looking for. So you've got 3 to 5 pages, right, where your kind of screen views. And then you've got 3 to 5 content areas within each page. So if we look here, I've got 1 content area, 2 content areas, 3 content areas, right, in this page here. So that's sufficing the content area requirement. Create consistent branding, color, and typography. So making sure that you're not changing typography as we scroll down from each screen. We don't want to see a new typography pop up. We want to keep the same typography for subheads, for headers. We want to just make sure that we're kind of keeping it all the same. Making sure that you are keeping that persistent navigation. So the persistent navigation is like in this interface at the top, she's got this navigation that's always at the top. So when I click on a page, let's say go to overview, it's the same navigation along the top. If I click back over to schedule, it's the same navigation at the top. So this is what we consider consistent navigation. Let's go back to our projects here and go down to project 2. So consistent navigation. You also really want to focus in on the positioning using that ZURB Foundation grid system. So I'm going to go through your code like I did with project 1 and just make sure that you're using that ZURB. It's really important to start using these different foundational grids so that you're not trying to position things on your own, because that always ends up in headache. So using these ZURB different types of grid systems are the best way to go. Design for mobile first. So mobile device, right? Like your cell phone or your iPad, make sure that you're designing for a mobile type of interface. So that means a smaller design. That means a smaller interface. If I take the screen and I make it smaller, like a mobile size, then I'm going to see all of the information respond and kind of shrink back into that size. Okay, it's not going to lose any content. We're not going to lose any headers or any information or images. We're just making sure that it's responsive. It can flow. All code must be written by you. So make sure that it's just something that you written. Like I said last week, if you've got code that you wrote for project 1 and you want to repurpose it for project 2, that is completely acceptable, as long as it's something that you understand and that you can implement in a successful way. So you've got a couple of deadlines here. We've moved steadily past all these different deadlines. The next one that you really have is next week. I'm going to open up a discussion area for you to get some feedback from your peers on what you've designed. So what I'd like for you to do is I'd like for you to upload by next week. So by, what day is that? 1, 2, 3, 4. By May 4th, I'd like for you to upload whatever it is that you are working on for your project 2 up to the ADA site under your project 2 link. And then I'm going to allocate people to give feedback to different people in your class and ask them to give some feedback on what you've created so far. So it doesn't need to be 100% done, but it should be 80% done, right? So make sure you're uploading to the ADA site by next week so that we can get this peer review. The great part about peer reviews are that they give you some really useful feedback without having any sort of concern with your grade or with any kind of concern with ridicule. It's a very open type of conversation, I hope anyways, where we're giving peer reviews. You're giving feedback to people and to fellow students on how they're doing, what their design looks like, what you're confused about. There may be little oversights that they see that you may not see or you may overlook. So it's a really great resource. And then finally, right? So this is when your finals are, right? May 11th is going to be our final. 6:30 a.m. is going to be the final. We'll meet through Zoom, and I will give that information to you via the Blackboard announcements here, so you will know what the Zoom link is for that date. So when you're presenting your project 2, you're going to need to create a slide presentation with Google Slides. So create 12 slides, timed to 15 seconds each for a total of 3 minutes, right? So we said each person's going to have about 3 minutes. Do this by choosing File, Publish to the Web, Embed. Then choose the medium size and then auto advance slides every 15 seconds. Copy the entire code for the iframe. Create a new page in your root folder, not inside the project 2 folder, and call it p2 slides.html. So this is going to be in the root folder, right? So if we look at a root folder, let's look at one of these examples, Valentino's example. So the root folder is going to be this main navigation root folder, right? So from this main navigation page, if I go to home, it should be placed here, this P2 slides. There should be a link to it here along your navigation. So make sure that you've got that included for this project 2 presentation. You want to make sure that you're creating this link in your global nav on your home page. So the global nav is this navigation up here. So when we're on our home page, we should have that link to those slides at the end here. All right, so those are the requirements for this project too. There aren't going to be any other projects that you're going to be working on between now and then. We're just going to be focusing in on getting this project too. So once you've gotten your project to about 80% done, then upload it to the ADA site by next week, Thursday, May 4th, so that we can get you some feedback from your peers, from your fellow students. Then the following week is when we meet May 11th at 6:30 a.m. and I will provide the Zoom link next week. And during that week, that's when you will have these different presentations to play. Okay, so this is the week to make sure that you've gotten everything turned in, make sure that you've got everything on your ADA site that you need to so that it can be properly graded. If you update anything, then make sure you email me and let me know. So Stacy.Houghton at calstateeastbay.edu. All right, let's go into some of these slides. So this one, Valentino created these slides. He created another global link here from the root folder called Google Slides. And I thought it was interesting, kind of shows the introduction of the information that he's trying to talk about in his project too. So progressive reduction is the process of, oh, excuse me, this is not project 2. This is the bit from the book. It's talking about the different users. He's talking about the different progress reduction in websites and web design. So this was a great example of this Google Slides. And then I liked the fact that he had it in his global navigation along the top here. So it was very easy to find. Going through with different kind of versions of logos and looking at that progression, the progression of the hamburger menu here. I liked that example. That was great to see. Good job, Valentino. All right, another one that I thought was really interesting was this example. Let me remind myself. Caleb did this one. So this is the design research again, denotation and connotation by Caleb Fink. So looking through this information, I thought it was great to kind of have the outline of what is connotation, what is denotation, this idea versus a heart, which is the heart in your body versus the heart that you see in everyday life, the symbol of heart, and sort of how do they connect. Typography. So different types of typography can represent different feelings and connotate to different feelings and emotions. So it was interesting to see this kind of being worked into the situation. Kind of looking at the denotation of things and, where can you implement that and how can you implement that? Identifying the idea of connotation and getting the kind of understanding of the different meanings here. So these are great. I like to see this design research link again with these 2 examples up at the global navigation here. So this was very valuable and it helped me to kind of see the resources and to see the work that you've done. All right, so we have got the project 2 to work on. You've got your project 2 slides to work on. Make sure that you're finishing up any work that is missing and email me. I always have open office hours Wednesday evenings. And then if you need a different time, I've got a couple of students I'm meeting at different times. If you need a different time besides Wednesday evenings at 8:30, I can always be reached through email and then we can figure out when to meet from there. Usually the best days for me are Wednesdays and Fridays. But I can try to kind of squeeze you into my lunch hour or whenever the case may be. So feel free to reach out if you have any questions and then have fun with this project too.